Hello, everyone. How's it going today? Hope you're all doing well. Doing more Ace Attorney, because of course... Look, I'm addicted. I have a problem. I understand this. You gotta indulge me for a bit, alright? Anyway, let's get started then. I'm gonna load up the game. Yeah, so I watched a bit of the Wholesome Games Direct that was right before this. It was fun. A lot of frog, bear, cat, witch farming games. All that stuff. Okay. There's some things in that direct that I am excited to look for. Like, some of the rhythm games look really fun. That last one that showed off was good. Like, Rhythm Heaven looking game. Anyway, we're not talking about those anymore. We're playing this game. So previously in this case, we have a scientist man whose experiment went wrong. We're trying to prove that's not murder. And that's just an accident. So the guy's still gonna get probably jail time, but regardless. Gonna make it less severe though. And Sasato's back finally. Oh, this room! It's been too long. Hasn't changed in the slightest though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I don't know when you might return and want everything to be as you left it. It has been some 6 months, it's true. So it's your father, all right, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Mikotoba. It was half a year ago, but that's why he went back to Japan. Because a telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. Oh yeah, here's where we find out where, it was a lie. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. That was all a trick. My father's in fine health. I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It's quite by accident I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's got a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. International Forensic... That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound. But all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh! You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Yeah, we got this overarching story. That, in the background that still don't know a lot about. And, like, how far does it go? My first drive back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. That awful trial? Oh yeah. The murder of Giselle Brett. Ooh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. Something else I've been wanting to ask you, Mrs. Sato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. A very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. Seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. How would that be then? How deep does the Hound of Baskerville go? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine something must have happened during that time. He refused to tell me what it was, and I tend to find the answers for myself. Decide that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie! It's a very meaningful look Susawa-san's giving ours there. You sure you're not hiding anything? Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium, too. He said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. Something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotoba is a leading expert in forensic science, forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Tashiro Jigoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruhodo. Last year, in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. A terrible trial of yours when you're accused of murder. Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Well, anyway, if his father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain, too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead. Yeah, about the symposium. Seems that Lord Strongheart has put an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General. The most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said, anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikotoba know Lord Strongheart personally, then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about the very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on, didn't listen much to it. How trying for you. So Giselle Brett's dead. Giselle Brett? The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongfully accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yeah, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry. Since the incident, our government's intelligence service has been investigating Miss Brett. It turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Oh? It didn't exist? But how can that be? There's a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. She wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. Front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence service has been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. No easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she's dead. That she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. And now she's been killed. All the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. We'll never know. I'm afraid so. Hey, Shin. Who on earth was she? But I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere. Oh, was she in the Morse code thing from last time? From the end of the last game? That might be it. What about Kazuma? When a friend raised trial, the reporter actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth! I know he had a hand in what went on. That visiting student's fate! Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know the guy never made it to England, that he died in that steamship. They'll never... Snake died on the tanker 2 years ago. Obviously could ask him to elaborate at the time. But later I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. And what'd you learn? Oh. After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, His body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong, passed to the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been. Well, it turned out his body never arrived. It just disappeared. Uh-oh. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown, except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it seemed that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. This is a cute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden. Kazuma mystery. Thinking back now, some things that happened on the SS Bureau were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo! It's too much to bear. I'm sorry I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-san was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? He definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. You're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. There's no reason why I'd possibly have done such a thing. Are you sure? He's hiding a lot of stuff about the Baskerville stuff. I suppose that's true, yeah. The idea that I might still be alive somewhere, it wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it. If it turned out not to be true, I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Mr. Sato. I was given the idea of the thought it deserves. It's Sato-san we're talking about, after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Alright. What now? Can we talk to Iris? Must be about a year ago now. What a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. They called it the Hound of the Baskervilles. But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it. But the manuscripts are where nobody could get their hands on it. So nobody knows anything about it, apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting! The Hound of the Baskervilles. I'd love to read it. And you wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it. Yes, but I made you promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh! Oh boy. I'm only sorry I had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. Let's hear about it. We're finally getting more information on this. It's completely by accident they gave me to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. A short while before he left Japan, I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There's a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles." What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. Father came in and... Zato, what are you doing? Oh, Father! Did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anyone else about this. Do you understand? How far up does it go? But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed That was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. There's no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. I have no doubt that Father's a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Miss Naruhodo, ready to start investigating if you are. I committed every detail about the case to memory. And Naruto just told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well. So you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mrs. Sato. Expected nothing less, to be honest. I think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. A conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. Then we need to go and arrest him! Well, yes. He must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. I think we need jurisdiction to arrest him, though. Sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police, or a great detective. I suppose to guess who she might be thinking of. We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today? I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. Let me know later how you got on, won't you? Alright. That's a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Okie dokie. We could visit these areas. We can't go to Lord Van Zeke's office. Yeah, I'll just go to the new places here. Oh my! No wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery. Being scared makes you crave sweets. I can understand that. I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere. That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. I suppose we just have to come back again later. Unless... Well, he really isn't here. Yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. There's the other side of them. Just know it's gonna be terrifying, don't you? The sign says the Madame Tussville special exhibit. Seems you have to pay extra to go inside. I know, can you believe that? Pay more money, so I haven't been scared enough already. It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright. Guess we're not going here. Let's go to the experimentation stage. Let's see what we can learn here. Oh my god, doggy. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds at this point. Has it? Shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. There you are! Had a feeling you would show your mugs before long. Oh. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual.
Warm greetings to you. Do hope you've been keeping well since last we met.
What's all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning.
Not you, Sunshine. Gentlewoman's a lawyer at your side.
Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. Might be a bit rough around the edges, but we still have proper English gentlemen at heart, I suppose. It's probably gas we were hoping to investigate the scene some more.
Right. Well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina!
But she's playing with the doggy. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably getting a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it?
She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. Got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yup. Think she'll follow my footsteps nicely.
What do you mean?
Being transferred. Time for me to say toodaloo to London.
Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? I'll come see how you're getting along.
Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is.
To France?
Been working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley.
But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there?
That's the way the adult world works, sunshine. They don't go poke your nose in where it's not wanted. I intend to take the kid with me when I go.
What? You're taking Gina to Paris?
Well, can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll become of her?
I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hand into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing Inspector Greggson's mind too, is it?
Anyway, haven't mentioned any of this to Gina. Don't go blabbing, you hear me?
No, of course not.
Gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound. Till all this is over, at least.
Oi! Did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again?
So you heard that, did you? Right, well, any questions about the scene? You can put them to our capable detective diva here.
Alright, you're the boss. Inspector Strahd's in charge here now. I suppose I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you? Dougie. Now that'll be the thumbnail for this one. Isn't he great? Toby's name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yeah, the dog does seem lovely. But it's not so lovely Inspector Gregson's playing my mind, to be honest. Toby the dog. We'll get to that. Gina, I'm actually hoping that we can investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. It's around here. You can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? What are you playing with my new friend here? Yes, Toby. Look at Toby. They made all the animals in this game too cute. The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind... Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Otto yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it. A special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you're thinking of? That's the one! That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something? The Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you're thinking of? That's the one, yeah! But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I was really getting to be truthful with you. You're still supposed to get permission for some bigwig, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Without Lord Strongheart's express permission, we can't investigate on the stage. Alright, the trial. It was great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, meeting Otto's made things odd for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. But watching someone else get the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. A dodgy professor used to put Gina as Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yeah, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for. Set off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest the cove, ain't he? In time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber. That's the one! Yeah! So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says it's giving him gut ache. Oh dear. But I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. I was about to point that out, yeah. Any leads on Drebin? Oh, Drebin. So Scotland Yard trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they have any luck. He's really funny looking. Got 2 eyes, what don't match. Saw a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, didn't actually picture nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, that scoundrel Reaper what's always glugging down glasses of that blood-red pulp. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. He's always had it in for me, that cove. Don't know why he's always scowling about mine. Probably been a pretty good boss as it goes. Sure happy the Reaper's apprentice in the detective's training. The way I see it, the choice between a chip-guzzling detective and a chouse-looking demigod. You're equally badly off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Let me put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, with the odds dead set on finding the fishy engineer. There don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. Nothing really is a Drebber at all. Let's hear about Toby the dog. Where'd you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flaming rude, Otto! Slightly overreaction, don't you think? In the mud, alright? Toby's, how they put it, a baby. Oh yeah, a bona fide detective! Sorry? I give him a proper title and everything. Chief Inspector Toby to you. More Senior Inspector Gregson, is he? Ooh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now. I've heard they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. Maybe don't say that out loud. That's nothing compared to this little fella, Otto. Oh, really? According to what the boss said. But Toby has got a good whiff of your drawers. Good chase that to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by a rather wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Otto, there's got to be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in the future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days he'll be barking orders us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gene, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. But anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby is Britain's first police dog. I found him down the East End the other day. Someone just chucked him out in the street. There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? Children and animals. Well, I guess we should get Lord Strongheart's permission first. Let's go to the prison first, though. I think it's been a bit... Oh my god! Sir? What's he doing? He's... Oh my! The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations! He's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Miss Naruhodo! And who is this young lady? My name is Sabu Mikitoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor... What do my words do there? Oh, if only! If only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner! none of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry my presence here upsets you. I have an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no! No! The whole thing, the whole miserable affair, don't happen because I've been such a complete another clot! Professor Hairbrain? What have you been working on yourself? Oh! You mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing! I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see. I simply had to write it down. What was I had to hand? Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? Ah, no, actually. This is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers and an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. It's going to be a new serial publication for next month. Part 1, an odd birth, and hot upgrading. That's a tiny book. Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course! I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them. By Esmond, by the Luft engineer Drebber. We're not gonna have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Sorry. Well, let's talk. Everything I believed has been turned on its head. I researched Mr. Asmund, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry to come to this. There's really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I want to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference whether you're aware of it or not. Even if it's a poor excuse, the blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Baruch did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that's just a necessary factor the prosecution established against its case. No, Baruch wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. How did he decide to take on the prosecution by trial, I mean? Oh? I figured it's something to do with... After a terrible accident happened, nobody would believe my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I've done some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Baruch, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis as complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you'd have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Baruch insisted I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. See, I was theorizing that last time that, like, he was trying to help, like, keep his hypothesis alive. I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. What about the whole Reaper side of things? How's that fit with the kind-hearted soul idea? Mr. Asmund, do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? Sorry to say it, but it does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written. It said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so empathetic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. The machine was essentially set decoration for some stage magic. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. The scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It's a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But None of us have any money. You wanted to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take up barely legal part-time work to try and earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that, only be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. That's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asma is no more, of course. He's only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Drebber. Let's ask about him.
Drebin.
Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler? It was about a year ago Mr. Asman first brought Drebber to meet me in my laboratory. He said I met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. At no point do you have any inkling that he was an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question the man's a genuine scientist. It's essentially apparent in conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us to his whereabouts? I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the kinesis machine. Nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. Yeah, that sounds like an important place to go. Why did you mention this before? You know, Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we will find the man there. The workshop. See him in Drebber's place of work then. Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance we'll find Drebber there. He doesn't know, does he? Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. That didn't set off any red flags, sir? That set off, like, so many red flags. You're blindfolded on the way there. He blindfolded you? Wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible! The pinnacle of modern engineering! Even the oil he used is very best. Special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead. What do you think, Mrs. Sato? Ode a machine for your next birthday? I've never used that kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor? You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, for example? Man, it was clearly very cautious, Mrs. Sato. Sure would never have... Aha! Yes, I do! He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look! What? Let me see that! Throwing it into the wind, why don't you? Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well, can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Is there anything else on there? I see some weird symbols there. I want to take a look at real quick. It's dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Yes, possibly. Professor Harebrade mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? It's not especially important, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. But more importantly, that's more fragrant than finest perfume. So, excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry. Don't worry. I expect that just because there's a tiny amount on here. What are those weird symbols here? Not important enough, I guess. Oh, it's supposed to look like a battery! I see. Okay. I think. I assume. Lord Chief Justice's office. Oh. Who are you? Who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder. I've never seen her before.
Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result.
Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment?
Sham science being demonstrated in London's great exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish. Now politicians scrambling to respond. Lord Van Zieks is in the Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
Now this is your responsibility. The government is silently blamed for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation of the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move and deal with the scrap metal in no time.
It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Lord Strongheart.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sure we'll never see her again. Who is that?
That was Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering a report about the victim, in fact.
Oh, I see. Mr. Asmund.
Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. Don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you have to ask her directly. You find her in the forensics laboratory.
Right.
Now, what are you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time.
She's not running quite so spectacularly anymore. Converse. What exactly is the forensic investigation team you mentioned before?
The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. First created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially, of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At the next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. As I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. Once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly.
What do you mean?
For too long, those scoundrels have been made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. One scoundrel is about to be rounded up and burned in the fires of heck. I intend to see it to it personally. I create the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future.
Look at those eyes. He means every word.
Dr. Scythe, an extremely reliable coroner, or Sith? Scythe?
Hello, welcome. Thank you for stopping by.
When I officially established the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she arrives my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikatoba.
Oh, yes, my lord?
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand it'll arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikatoba, I mean?
It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikatoba very well.
Oh. Let's ask about it.
My memory serves, some 15 years ago now, your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born. So, yes, 16 years ago, in fact.
Mikatoba was a young practitioner of forensic science. Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge.
The punctiliousness.
The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly.
Hold on. I hate to go word of the day so early, but punctiliousness, does that mean they were on time? Punctiliousness. Giving close attention to details. Okay. Alright. That's your first word of the day. Probably gonna be more. It's your word of the day, chat. Punctiliousness.
Not that I wish to imply politeness or carelessness on your part in any way.
I didn't think that you were.
Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics in one of London's largest hospitals. St. Sinner's, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Sis was there then, it just happens.
Then, Dr. Sith knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I have no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba is here studying a subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years. She left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh, perhaps my father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean? Why? Now's probably not the time to ask about that. Ryunosuke? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Let's ask about Lord Van Zieks. I want to ask about Lord Van Zieks, actually. I heard his older brother was killed some years ago. Master Murder knows the professor who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right?
Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. You could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper.
What? Why?
His brother, Clint Von Zieks, was murdered. It was just after young Barak had graduated from the University of London, become a prosecutor. The obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing. Rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say whenever Barak Von Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word! So Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper. It's the ghost of his brother.
Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles.
Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart.
Go ahead.
About Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. I'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible.
Are you well versed in science, then?
Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently.
Well, a special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Sis' team of forensic experts will begin on their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing.
Thank you. Be able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
I'm extremely sorry to have troubled you, and you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand.
There he goes. Alrighty. Yeah, let's go here. New place, new place, new place. Oh. I believe this is it. Dr. Sis' laboratory. The chemical smell really assaults the nose. There's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too. Looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you become, Mr. Sato. You just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Let's take a look at that skeleton. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers are really skilled, aren't they? Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mrs. Naruhodo? Mrs. Sato, can't you tell I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. Owl. That looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know, they haven't even twitched since we came in here. Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo. I was afraid you were going to say that. I'm trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open. Yes, I think perhaps you're wise to put something like your Dharma doll on display in office instead. There's a big thick book here. It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... Well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month! 500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies only carried out in certain special circumstances. Scalpel blades can be sharpened, too. It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month? What are they possibly be using all of them for?
What are you doing?
Oh, I think it's... Ah! Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you. You weren't here, so...
So you thought you'd snoop around?
That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it?
Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Asmund's body, I mean. So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. Since the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? Well, the victim, Mr. Odiasman, who disappeared for the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Asman who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. But that can't be right. If it was an elaborate trick, you can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared were the same person. The fingerprints of the scene make that quite evident. Fingerprints? They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day, they'll be used as investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Alright. Mama, what is this? Where'd she spring from? And did you just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Ryunosuke Narho. Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? Oh god. I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring. Okay. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, it's Narhoda, yours pale as a corpse. Let's leave for I'm mistaken for one. Cool. Alright. Okay, good to know. Okay. Let's go up. Oi! That's off limits up there! Try to sneak past me again and I'll stuff your gob full of the boss's fish and chips. Yes, please, I love fish and chips. I suppose we need special permission. Did we not just get it? Or you need to talk to Gina specifically about it first. There we go. I suppose we didn't in fact tell her. We just went up there ourselves. Gina, we're actually hoping that we can investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. It's around here. You can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? Gotta be clear for a new friend here. Okay. Actually, you just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Yeah? You what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him. He waited for 3 hours in the Cove's office to get back sniveling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah? Honestly. Alright then, go ahead. If it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chicken again in his life. So, you're still saying all this above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. Okay, now we can go. Silly me. These stairs lead up to experimentation stage. Let's go and see what we can find out. Is there gonna be anyone actually here already? Oh my! So this is the machine. That was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yeah, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrayne went to in order to obtain the research grant. No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. Right about that. Never seen such grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh look, is that... Oh god. He's here. Lord Van Zeeks! I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mrs. Otto? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. But we have permission to be here, from the top! We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine. As long as we don't touch anything. From the top? You mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this reactor for as long as we like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it would have been bent her steel will. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the bird cage. One Professor Harebrayne said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. In spite of even an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. A wonderful durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? And so the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished the work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know we're given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Time to touchy touch. Give us that bird cage. Ah, look here, Mrs. Sato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yeah, from the height at which the balloon was flying, down the crystal tower below. All of about 30 feet. Or 9 meters. Leaving the man inside tragically dead. Okay, it updated, so I'm assuming that's all we need. Do we poke the bear? Let's try. Least approachable man in the world winner 10 years in a row. Be strong, Miss Naruhodo. Your country assistant stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zeeks.
What?
Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it?
I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs.
Oh, I read them.
So, what are you doing here? Entry this area is prohibited.
Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that you didn't disturb anything.
You're disturbing him, yet you've managed to disturb me.
Exactly.
Never mind. State your business, then.
Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeeks about. Not least which that awful case. You know, it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Miss Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hey, sorry to disturb you like this, but let's talk about your dead brother. So, Clint. What's the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks?
You Nipponese always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you?
Oh, no, it's not like that. Alright, it is a bit like that.
My older brother was also prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zeeks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us.
The professor, you mean? Something funny?
That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised.
I'm sorry, there's more to it then.
Lackluster work. This is very much your trademark, isn't it?
You're too kind. You're gonna tar all Nipponese with the same brush next?
So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zeeks, it's rather curious cases come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussbell's Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I featured one of the displays there, for public scorn.
Of course, Infamous Reaper the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, particularly waxwork was been stolen from the place, and held for ransom.
Particular waxwork? Which... wait, you mean...
Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak.
I was unaware of that.
He's turned as white as a sheet. Enoch Drebber. Please try to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already?
Surely that goes without saying.
Very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has a straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So I'm just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but we very much appreciate any clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns.
Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here for an investigation 10 years ago.
Oh.
Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What?
No, nothing. I'm just surprised that you shared that with us.
We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph?
What is about Lord Van Zeeks? I just can't work him out at all. Alrighty. Oh! It's the apprentice. I'm very worried about who this could be.
Ah, the file request for the trial tomorrow. Thank you.
Are you alright? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Francisca's apprentice, apparently. So not the only one. Sawa-san can see it too. Lord Van Zeeks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment?
With him? Why?
He's not allowed to talk, isn't he? I forgot. Oh. Kazuma... Oh? Oh my god?
Kazuma?
I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? Oh my god. I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait! Too late.
What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice, exactly? You act as if you know the man or something.
Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor.
But didn't tell you why, did he?
The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
He has amnesia?
Tomorrow, he'll appear in court on my side.
What?
He's to serve as my judicial assistant, on Lord Strongheart's orders.
He'll be in court with us.
Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course.
Oh, yes, thank you. Oh my god. I definitely saw a reaction there. I just saw someone called out like that. It really seemed to hit a nerve. She called out Kazuma-sama. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is not what I expected. Okay. A terrible explosion must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. What they call the birdcage is right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? The floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred. The birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that there's a very elaborate hoax, is there? You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, yesterday, in fact. Lord Van Zeeks' office. I see. And if Cosmo-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. I kinda need to speak to him about that.
You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems.
What sort of problems?
Foreign affairs problems.
We could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mrs. Sato. Of course. My god. Where is this going? How high up does it go? Ugh. Gina, I should hope that we can investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. Okay, we're asking this again. Apparently we can't look around the stage yet because the forensic investigation team aren't at work. Can't do anything, Gina? Your capacity as Inspector Lestrade? Look, I'd like to help you out. But I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do. But suits you, yes. Well, alright. Off we go. What do you mean if we asked everything we can do? Pretty sure we have. Ah, the Crystal Tower! I can't believe I've seen it in such close proximity with my own eyes. You're really looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Mrs. Sato? Oh yes! When I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck. Here you are, back in London, gazing up at the magnificent tower. I know. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. Can we look at this part again? What a shame that symbolic landmark of the great exhibition has been damaged like that. Unfortunately, the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. The gods gave me some warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners and attain his kinesis. Imagine what would have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. Did say it was just a warning. Man must travel in his own steam, or next time birdcage will rain down on all of you. Your faith is much stronger than I realized. How'd you think I passed the entrance exam for Yume University? Was by studying alone. Okay. Just look at this scene again. Here's the scorching on the ground that you mentioned. Yeah, there's what's left of the green balloon's envelope. All clear evidence of the balloon that exploded on the day of the incident. Poor Professor Hairbrain. I do feel sorry for him that his dreams have been shattered like this. Someone's well and truly burst his bubble, as it were. Ouch, I'm a bad person. Okay, what else can we look at? Nothing there. Or that. The stage there is where the experiment was set up. It's very high, isn't it? About 30 feet, I believe. Or 9 meters if you prefer. Craning your neck to see up to it starts to hurt after a while, doesn't it? Yeah, we need to get up there and look around properly. Well, if I'm honest, climbing all those stairs makes my chest hurt. Oh dear. I think perhaps you should exercise more, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm guessing we can't do this again. Better not try going up the stairs to the stage area now. We're to bump the forensic investigation team. It sounds like we could make trouble. What else can we ask about? Do we present stuff to her? I guess we could give her that. Gina, would you take a look at... Okay, this again. And if there's more we need to ask... I guess we do still need to present something to her. Maybe this. About this, Gina? Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I don't know A to E. Somebody in too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the car that's important. Eh? How come? It's just a dirty old smudge in the back, that's all. Turns out that this is very high-quality French machine oil. It's a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say! Let's have a whiff, then. Not you, the dog. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right! You mean Toby! Since the smell is so good, he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Hairbrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebin's workshop. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean he follows the scent this oil? Toby can lead us to that dodgy cove's workshop! That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. Wait, when did you... What's a pickpocket? If I can lead everyone to that Drebin workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure he'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Alright. Right then, Otto. Leave it to me. Sorry. We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me who cuts in the neck. It'll be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent, have you? Come on then, boy! See you later! I do hope this oil leads into that swindler's workshop. Yeah, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the Channel to France. Yeah? Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. We can just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber. I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, you think we ought to try to speak of Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yeah, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, Irish told me about it, the latest unusual venture. Okay, hopefully he's there. We got a lot of questions. He's got a lot of explaining to do. Here we are again, at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course. Sasan really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Eek! What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork! Quite sure it wasn't there before. Yep, there he is. Exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail. Aha! What is it? Sorry, I think you'll find... That's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah, the friend of the dedicated employee. Yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties? Hello, do not disturb, Poor Susato-san. She looks very perplexed. Okay, crap. We already looked at this. Guess we can look at it at least. I really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes. I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he? I think you might find... He's quite nearby, actually. Oh! What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! The world-famous great detective with waxwork, Herlock Sholmes! Oh, Susato-san! Susato-san! He killed her. She's dead. Rest in pieces. My most humble apologies. I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment. Via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. So it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today, for that matter. Poor Mr. Sholmes. That stomach rumble echoed throughout the whole museum. So how'd you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's this modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms. In the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible would demand a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps. The ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact I must ask you to keep from my test spells at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yeah, we're gonna ask about Kazuma. But first, Drebber. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler Duke Professor Hairbrain, an engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. I really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. We have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It's a capital mistake to have good ideas for one's data. If I knew something of man's appearance, at least, then maybe we'd be in a position to help. Yeah, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Well, let's do this before we interrogate you about Kazuma. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? Look at this! It's Mr. Enoch Drebber. The face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph will be particularly instructive. Uh-oh. Alright, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. Hi, pal. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder. You examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? You met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asagi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept into the murderous atmospheres at the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I believe the crewman present at the time made a mistake. But not you, Mr. Sholmes. I'll now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you'll find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that's all I can say. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned. I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh yeah, the professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings? That's a special one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity will come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely, you look at my expression to ascertain if this is serious or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well, couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse at your leisure. Okay. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. What if it's just a giant sign that says, pranked ya? Through those heavy curtains at last. And is it gonna be Drebber? I wonder if it's gonna be Drebber. 5 shillings we've had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow. Mr. Sholmes slipped the money in his own pocket, does it? No. Ah! We can ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using your special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. So it makes Britain great. Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law in their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well on that list, I think. He does. Although he did do that stuff at the end of the last game. Oh my god. Ah, that's why they mean by mostly solved. Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as we walked in here. Mr. Sato, I said we turn our heels and go straight home. Via a really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already. True. Your head's off! No, it isn't. Actually, I'm looking more closely. You've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. It's supposed to be Mr. Sholmes, but he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there were a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Because we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. It's that fear of frustration that's making Mr. Sato-san's voice tremble. Okay, who is this person? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. Seems a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand, too. Look. He looks like he's holding it the wrong way, though. Camera. Oh, uh-oh. I see that plus. Well, this appeared to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera? But so small. This technology is incredible, isn't it? You want Mr. Sholmes' skin prints. I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he's trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film. We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. Hey. Look at the photographic plate inside the camera. We can see a picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to light coming through the lens. Got a text I gotta respond to real quick. You see yourself, Sasato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? What is this? That's not important, apparently. Guess that plus is, a common fashion thing. It's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Where's the lantern? It's not like a Japanese chochin paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, chochin. The point is it casts very little light. If you're walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this... Well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Check out that shovel. He's holding it the wrong way. What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth is this man doing with a shovel in a graveyard in the middle of the night? Mrs. Sato. Yes? That's a spade, isn't it? No, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Miss Naruhodo. It's a shovel. No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. Oh my god. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should go concentrate what the man was doing with the implement. So we gotta bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. No. Can't see his face very well, can you? That's why just... Oh! Do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Miss Naruhodo? Put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Is this Drebin? Ah! What on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle! That's not Drebin, though. Naruhodo, is it possible this man is... Yes. Oh, a young Drebber. It's not Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Oh. Yeah, that's a clue. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is subject to your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. So who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? Why is the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Toward the sweet, as madam would say. I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably of rations. Do you know, though? Something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Mrs. Sato. Do go on. And, as terrifying as they are, the scenes of the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely could never really have happened, could it? Did it? I think it's time I educate you a little. About the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Oh. Here we're gonna learn some things. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims. Everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Was that the hound? Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It's a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? Assuming the professor's identity... As you surmise, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty, was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave in Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. He came back to life. He survived the hanging. He clawed his way off the ground and emerged into the moonlight graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. As a witness, but of course, my dear fellow, is none other than the young man in the white overcoat. You know, Drebber. He saw it happen. So that's the waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, a convicted professor had been beheaded and buried, emerged from the grave in the dead of the night. The sole witness of that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. So horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. The sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yeah, shows the photograph we have of him. His hair's completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page of the Capitol. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here in Mount Tussbells. I quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Yeah, what was he up to? The professor's act of terror threw London up his class into a complete panic 10 years ago. It's a great scandal, one might say, the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It's forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story. It's a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. But what do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave at the local cemetery and published their findings. The common's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No, but how would Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers? That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course the convicted murderer couldn't really come back to life. It's not possible. Sure, his hair is unusually white. That really did happen overnight as a result of shock. It's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Huh. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now, there should be a glass plate inside. I have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see. Something wrong? There is no plate. It's been removed. What a pity. I suppose if you think about it, this might be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we never found a photographic print of the executed convict come back to life anyway. Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course. Where's Sasato-san? She looks devastated. Okay. Anything else about the camera we can use? Like, we could probably just use the camera. What a wonderful machine. No, what a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh, yes. Anything... I don't know why it took me so long to notice that. I was trying to read the dialogue, I didn't notice. Anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely. Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yes, Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Mikotoba. Excuse me. What might this be, then? Look, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? On the bellows, just here. There seem to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. Looks like blood, actually. Oh my. I'm not sure what is I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Do we show this to Mr. Sholmes? Oh, what do we do now, then? Good point, I guess. This must be the killer! The fiend knows the professor! Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said. He killed 5 victims, all from noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models of this place. Like all the models of this place. Now it can start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only I had a head, that is. I should examine in a little more detail. Nope, nope, go back! Go back! So this is the condemned man. The so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was just chopped off by guillotine. But able to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mrs. Sato? And I'm sure the model had once. It's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absentmindedly forgot to reattach him. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absentmindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned to the museum. That'd be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Whatever the reason. We usually don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. Quite a big piece, too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where does a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? Because it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as a big building, for example. Is it from the Crystal Tower? Well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? Some of the glass is broken, too. You don't mean... Exactly, the Crystal Tower of the Great Exhibition. But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged in this waxwork's jacket? Makes you think, doesn't it? Early in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. Now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Just a coincidence? Okay, now I think we're probably done. Oh, yep, the fade out. We're done. Ah! What the bleeding Norado? What have you gone done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where he'd be. So, Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think it might be more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... All right, Gina, we understand. But please, put down the gun. Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found the Dodgy Cove's workshop! What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss yells are heading over there now to drag, so come on. Here's the address. Got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then. See you there. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone is feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madam would have me pay monetary recompense, and Alice's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hire a carriage at once. I'll offer to share the cost with Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. Alright, let's go. Okie dokie. Oh, hey. What might this be here? That looks like... Oh! It's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine! Indeed, it would appear so. But only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then! Gina! Well done for finding this place. Such a little time. You've really worked miracles. It's Toby here who's the miracle worker. Woof. Oh god.
But, don't you lot will show up before long?
Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. Looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer?
Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here.
Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place, giving us a chance to investigate.
According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris and debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I?
Thank you.
Anyway, if you're going to snoop around in here, I get cracking. Lord Van Zeek's and the forensic investigation team are on the way here as we speak.
Them again.
I'm actually got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly lawyer types.
Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance.
And you, Sholmes.
Pardon?
Take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers.
Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. Let's take a look at this. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. The machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Science Equipment Act. There'd be serious repercussions if you were to examine it. From the Crown and the government. Yeah? Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No shame to drop those low or nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think it's just these two, Mrs. Sato. The trophy. What do you win? Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's a pleasant-looking back massager, that's for sure. No doubt if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy of excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. Things become increasingly clear. There's much more of this mystery in October than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. But how about you, Miss Naruhodo? Would you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? Curious, though, isn't it? We expect this important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times.
The science trophy.
What about this? This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows, with steel bolts inside. Uh-oh. Oh, do you suppose...
Crossbow bolts, these. Just the right size for the bowie lot turned up at the exhibition grounds.
In other words...
Yup. That's more evidence to support your theory. I'll go show Treble is the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam.
Whoa. Hey. You're right about something. Look at that. Let's look at the trophy real quick. Royal Society Award. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Seems rather ironic, doesn't it? Clearly Mr. Drebber was really very talented scientist. Anything special about this? I don't think so. Just a trophy. Alright. Literally just a trophy. I'm fine with that. What else would there be to look at up here? Oh, the plane, I guess. What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Miss Naruhodo. One day science believes to allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yeah, but a real airplane would actually fly high in the sky. I'll spend it from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. This large metal object obviously can't really stay in midair unsupported. So to you, the solution is ever taller towers? Come on, Ryunosuke. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it.
Specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard. So hands off until he gets here.
With permission, Inspector, I could have the lock open in less than a minute.
Well, you don't have permission. And no one's giving it to you.
Jackson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sign of anybody on their side. No, Jared must have fled at the first sign of danger.
What?
Oh, something wrong, Mrs. Otto? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it all. What do you reckon, Toby?
Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard.
Oh my, someone is in there.
Ah, this rotten bleeding lock.
My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock the door in less than a minute.
Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get through that blasted door.
There, you may enter at will. A few minutes of seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are you waiting for?
Nothing for it, I suppose. It's an emergency.
There's a strong possibility beyond that door. It's the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. Do we get QTEs? Do we get a combat section? Okay, sure. Sure, game. Whatever you say. He set up a bomb and then Spider-Man out the window. Why is everything upside down? Rats! There ain't no one in here at all! There must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Yeah, that's the sound of Drebber running away. There's only one door into this room. And no windows that can afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. But the Shubrins there. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling?
Blow me, what have we here then?
Ignoring the bomb in the room.
Looks like someone's trying to burn something in a hurry.
Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what?
That Professor Hairbrain's Barney machine, isn't it? Blimey, if we had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal.
There's something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. Rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. Must investigate the entire room thoroughly, before the investigation team arrive too. What's in the safe, though? It's a very large safe. I suppose even Mr. Sholmes could open that lock. Though if you're a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. It's bolted to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhanded trick, Mr. Naruhodo. Well then, you just steal the floor as well, I suppose. Sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. Anyway, I think we agree that whatever's inside must be very important. Let's check the window here again. There's no denying it, is there? They're footprints. Yes, it would appear so. I simply can't imagine how they came to be there. Isn't there a Sasato shoot-up or something? Like a Sasato takedown, I mean. I'm no Wonder Woman, Miss Naruhodo. That'd make her almost superhuman, I suppose. Almost every piece of furniture is upside down. Even Mr. Sholmes' suite isn't there in this much of a mess. You're in no position to comment on mess, Mr. Naruhodo. I suppose it's not quite the same thing, is it? I mean, it's not messing in here, per se, so that everything is literally upside down. But why? I suppose we should check this out. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Miss Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped in a large watch to me, but... Ah! Mrs. Sato, what's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it?
What? Did you say?
A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? You truly are one of a kind, Miss Naruhodo. I will take that as a compliment. You don't know nothing, do you, Otto? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Miss Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb. I confess it's a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. Then what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes. Have you seen the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair. I'm fated ever to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mrs. Sato. Here we go. Feel great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Oh, but how could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is, without question, completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Oh, that's the poutiest face I've ever seen from him. Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea, anyway. Oh, you deflect the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Mrs. Sato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Here we go. Flipped furniture. It's plain to see that this room is complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down the floor. Here I am, the room is on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here... Oh. There's something on that chair there. It's gravity. It would appear technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in the room was reversed, then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Quite understand your skepticism, Mrs. Sato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one I featured in a dream of mine, or the other day, in fact. But then why does it have a clock on it? Most relevant question, indeed. That's a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There is clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment the restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So, you see, we need to look no further and explain the state to which you now find the room. The direction which gravity acts here is reversed by Mr. Drebber, while being restored to normality in automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I've witnessed precisely the scene a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Yeah, that's, Missing engineer. Now, let's consider the next conundrum. What's our engineer's friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? The question is also at least needed to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there's but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling, and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the madam was concerned with the mouse corner with nowhere to run, so escape through silence was only an option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the polar gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the polar gravity again now, just for fun. Sure. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Sure. Whatever you say. Toby. He's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I'd expect nothing less. You're destined to be trolled by just one thing for the rest of your life. Club over here. The thing is such a thing even possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that from man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. But your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, however improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? My more enduring pearls of wisdom. And I always come with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yeah, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Mrs. Sauter lent me once.
Objection!
Actually, she said objection. Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. The spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber used it to escape in the way you described, would it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. There's evidence of such. You need to look at the mystery facing this room, now skillfully unraveled. The argument is as circular as the coils of the rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure of some minor corrections. Great detective's great deduction leads to the truth. Yeah, you're right. I must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. If you're all ready, let's resume. Sherlock Holmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Okay. Let's see here. What really happened here? Sorry. Nope. What really happened here? I think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I found the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually immersive of you, Mrs. Sato. You have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. My detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Once you've examined this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely, it reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was, or wasn't doing. Okay. Look, Mrs. Sato. Everything seems to be upside down in here. The safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed? Yes, that's true. Look more closely at the safe's feet. That's a lot of very large bolts fixing it to the floor. Think before you speak. That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that. Oh, the vase is upright. Well, I was expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Look at that! I know. That slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Something makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me.
Take that!
Yep. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you surpassed yourself! I completely turned my argument on its head! Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one's trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As rightly say, though it appears at first glance all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing clean. Bleh. And unlike the large safe, there's nothing affixing it to the floor. It's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity of this room was never inverted at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on. So let's continue with our deductions. As we know, this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device. There remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over a piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite. And naturally, there's an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. No. We literally just determined. He's absolutely determined this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. There's no doubt that someone did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Well, I'm pretty sure that might be it.
Take that!
Yeah, the reason why everything here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely! I believe, Miss Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yeah, last year. When I bought a lottery ticket, I know the ticket number down the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Miss Naruto? The day the draw came round, I forgot which book I written the number in, and I tried to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart, and always forget where they've noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so I turned my room upside... Thank you, Miss Naruto, but I'd be proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario is clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant went through to need the combination code. Remember that he'd written on the other side of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drub overturned all the furniture in here, in desperate hurry to locate the combination code that will lock the safe. Now, don't tell me he's in the safe. Is he? Because that's no air holes. Now, let's consider... Okay. Well, if it changed the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how those footprints get there? I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any way to explain it at all. Life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. I suppose we simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us in these situations in the first place. Okay. Shoe! It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look! Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became launched, do you think? So, judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. How would anyone be throwing shoes up the ceiling, though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
Okay, sure, Gabe. Shoes on the ceiling. Tracing their footprints on the ceiling, cut the nearby shoe. On closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon? That seems somewhat familiar, Data. There's a piece of green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruto narrates throughout the scene. Inside the green balloon that Mr. Gotts claimed he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second bird cage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say... You assume the balloon here is above the one used on the day? There's a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something Absconder was desperate to achieve while making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why it was altered projectile, namely the shoe. Most probably, Trevor intended to tear a hole in the envelope by sailing for the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there's some way we could see inside. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Well, it'd be kind of hard to get the rope up there. The Sholmes managed to bring the deduction back to this rope. I'd have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground. Which is much easier said than done, I feel. It takes us a very long time as well. True, perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Yeah, the crossbow, probably.
Take that!
Ten destination. What better tool than this crossbow? That's found at the scene, in fact. In all likelihood, it belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, You'll avoid losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. Okay. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? And it's... it's the head! Ah! What the... A waxwork? Indeed it is! A waxwork head inside a metal mask. Mask that's shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means. Just a moment, this is the head of a waxwork model. Does that mean... oh goodness! I see you've joined the dots, Mr. Sato. Excellent. Ah, of course. A headless waxwork model. In case he abducted Madame Tussbell's model that you'd largely solved, there's only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Tussbell would now have to settle a sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes, but why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tussbell's and returning it, sans death, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are... they're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Nope, back to it. Well, it appears the logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, speak for the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible he escaped via one of the skylights, obviously the man must still be here in the room. What? And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey you've made together during this deduction. Enoch Drebber's right here, somewhere in this room. So, Miss Naruto, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be the... it's my deduction now.
Take that!
He's in the safe, I called it. Before we gained access to the back room, we heard the noises from in here. Which tells us the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to a safe. And pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture they overturned in the process. Which we can deduce that search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Well, let's open it. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. My god. Inside the safe. It's inside the safe. What's inside the safe? Let's see. Let's find out. So, Mr. Naruto, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide-and-seek, don't you? Opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1432582. I knew that. Alright then, here goes. Hello there! You found me. Oh, breakdance. Hello? Yeah, we sure did find him.
Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume?
Correct. Better start talking. You tricked Professor Harebrain with that bogus machine you built. And you should have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tussbell's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions, Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Ah! I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me, then. But no! Oh, boy. Mr. Sholmes! With only 7 seconds to spare! That was too close for comfort. I got one foot in the grave already.
Try to help us get a kill. Oh, get us killed!
Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Whew, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems.
Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over. Don't you worry, Trevor.
What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop that I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me! Oh. For some reason, I will confine Fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly I must have a screw loose though, so I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. Another one loose, as I couldn't remember which one piece of furniture had written it down. I also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burn the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, he failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. After that, you hid yourself inside the safe. I first set this parcel ticking. Well, had no intention of being nailed by the police.
God death wish, have you? Hide right beside a ticking time bomb.
It must be really thick safe. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe, it's specially designed. A dynamite explosion would leave a scratch on it. So, in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climb inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fit on the inside, allow the door to be locked from within. So it is. I'd always intended to blow this place to smithereens in any case. I just was expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans.
Do you mean to say you're planning to blow us all up?
No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance, set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea what's been going on here now. What about the 2 incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which his head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the Professor! Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. After all, that's enough! That's enough! What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here.
Yes, well...
Dr. Sith again. So the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance. Is it, Dr. Sith? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith. If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you're quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You... Get out! But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruto! Yes? It appear our delightful entertaining investigations have run the course for today. But Mr. Sholmes... Let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out! Now, all of you! Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. Wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There's a time bomb set in here. That's just locked disarmed. Inspector. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Grandma? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Uh-oh. Yes, you did disarm that one. What do you... That one? I mean... Uh-oh. And we all died. Uh-oh. 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 That's real bad. Well. An hour later, we heard the news. The enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. Whoops. Oh boy. I actually may have to cut this stream a little short. Do I have to cut it short now? It's stretching a bit, but I can try to go a little longer. Worst case scenario, I can just... Is it possible to, like, auto-save mid-trial or something? I don't know. Whatever. Worst case scenario, I'll get to the point. I'll get back to where we were. Next time. Off camera. Good morning to you, Miss Naruto. Good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows! Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Okay, hold on. Okay, I actually do have to end the stream. Okay. I thought I had more time than that. I had prior reservations that I need to attend to. Or the subsequent, technically. Still. But we will need to end the stream now, sadly. I'd love to continue this, but can't today. Some other time, though. That's it for today, though. Thank you all for coming by. Means a lot. And hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.